So yeah, I feel like she's really my rock. Like anything I have going through or have gone through, I still tell her anyways.
Yeah.
And then we remind each other of our silly mistakes and all that. But we just laugh about it because we do the same thing anyways.
Exactly.
Hey guys, welcome back to Ad Talks.
Hello.
So this time we're gonna go on to our part 2 of the whole long distance friendship thing. So now we're gonna go into more personal questions. The first question we have is the impact of time zones on long distance friendships. So the first one we have is, how do different time zones affect your communication with long distance friends?
Okay, this one I wouldn't say it's really difficult because we don't live really far from each other, but I do have friends who live really far from each other, so it's kind of hard keeping up with them, like having to talk to them. It's so challenging. Like it's like morning for them is like evening to us. Talking to them is like they're so busy because they have their own schedule. I have my own schedule. I can't just talk to them like, hey, are you free right now? It's like unless like there's a slim chance of that happening. And so because of that challenge, we try our best to make an effort in communicating by sending calendar invites, like through Google Meet, actually convenient, or check into each other's schedule. We share each other's schedule. This is what time or what days we are free, which days we are not free, and that's how we try to see which works for us. It's really more on mutual availability and communicating which days works best for each other. It's difficult, but you kind of get used to it over time because they're living there, I'm living here, and that's how we just adjust to each other.
Mm-hmm. I agree, yeah. I mean, it's all about setting invites, Google Calendar invites if you may.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to do that, that's an effective strategy, which brings us to our next question. What strategies do you use to find suitable times for calls or chats with friends in different time zones? So yes, Google Meet. Just set up a Google invite or a Zoom invite or anything. Or maybe, I guess a good strategy is to make sure that the time zones match. Mm-hmm. So you can call that person when it's evening or when it's morning for us, or maybe evening for us and then morning for them.
Yes.
Really depends. But afternoons is very unlikely to happen.
Yeah.
Especially if they're from the United States.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what other strategies can we do to find suitable times to call or chat? I think it's really about time zone.
Yeah. I mean, like I also save their country in my clock. So that's how I know if they're awake or not. And
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, and if I see if this is the time they're awake, I usually chat them at that time.
Yeah.
So that's how I make it work too.
Exactly. I agree. Yeah, you should always put your friends' clock on your own clock.
Yes.
That's so convenient. That's so true. I always convert it as well. I'm like, oh yeah, what time is it there? Because we can't convert it by ourselves unless you're some brainiac. Go ahead. Do it. But yeah, always put your time zones in your calendar, making sure that everything is okay. And I guess what are some humorous or challenging situations due to time zones that you've experienced?
Oh, there was one time I had this really juicy tea that I had going on, and I knew this best friend of mine wanted to hear it. So I was like, oh, this happened really recently, and it was in the morning, and I didn't realize that person's time zone was in the evening, already sleeping, and so I remembered calling that person, and he was like, oh my gosh. Guess what's going on? And it turned out this person was like, what do you mean what's going on? I was sleeping, you just woke me up. And yeah, I think it's really funny because sometimes we forget their time zone, and even though that's how time zones work, it just isn't in sync. And you have to remember that their time is different from your time.
That's so true. Yeah. Sometimes you call them when they're sleeping.
Yes.
Or when they're awake and you're like, okay, no, I have to tell you now. And you're like, oh.
Yeah.
But okay. But then, if they really are willing to hear it, they will hear it anyways,
Yes.
no matter if they're sleeping or not.
Yes.
But yeah. And then the next one, personal growth through long distance friendships. Mm-hmm. So the first question is, how has maintaining a long distance friendship contributed to your personal growth?
Yeah, well, I love this question because when it comes to friendship, personal growth is one of the biggest factor, and it's not just a one-sided thing, it's actually a two-sided thing. So in friendship, you both grow as human beings, and for me, I wouldn't say just because we're long distance, our personal growth has ended there. And In fact, it actually has grown over the years, I would say, because of our constant communication with each other. So when it comes to, talking to each other, we talk about our problems, our situations in life, our decisions, the decisions we have to make. We ask them for their opinions to help with us. And they have honestly done a lot to the point that I've seen myself grow throughout the years. And it's thanks to them because not everyone is able to do that. Some people, they're just not capable of helping as much as they can. So that's why it's like with personal growth, it has to be through communication as well. You tell them everything, and that's where you know that you're growing because based on their help, and that is helping you as well.
Yeah, are you kidding me? I've seen Key
Yes.
grow throughout this
I've
past
seen-
years.
I've seen you grow. Yes.
And I'm so incredibly happy to just like see her
Yes.
grow. It's like I feel like in long distance you start to see your growth because the last time you saw each other was like in a different place.
Yes.
And then now you come
Different
back
people.
and you're like, oh my god,
Yes.
she's different.
Yes, exactly.
Like not just looks wise, but also like personality.
Personal-wise.
It's like people are growing and it's so beautiful to see. And then our next question is, what have you learned about yourself through the experience of having friends who live far away?
Yeah, this one I learned so much about myself, and it's not a bad thing that they're far away. It's actually also a good thing to me because it has also given me a lot of time and space to also realize myself because it's not all the time that they have to be there just for me to grow. I also need the time for myself to explore things, to figure things out for myself, and they will always be there for me. That has definitely helped me learn about myself is because I also spent the time alone figuring out who am I, what am I doing, what do I want in this life. So it's through time with myself has helped me grow.
Agree. Like I guess time really impacts the way of long distance. I guess for me, what I've learned about myself through long distance was that I was able to understand myself alone. I was forced to be isolated, of course, because I've left my friends. I had to start all over. And then that made me grow as a person that, being independent, being alone is not a bad thing. It's
not.
actually a good thing because you're forced to learn new hobbies, new skills, new interactions, which is so refreshing. So honestly, from the time that I left till now, I've learned so much from different people and from different cities and countries that it's amazing. And then brings us to our last question. How do long distance friendships challenge or enhance your social skills and adaptability?
Like we have kind of mentioned about the challenges in friendship with long distance. These are challenges for a reason. They aren't just difficulties or for there to bring us down. We've actually seen ourselves grown throughout the years because of the challenges that we had to go through. And if it weren't for those, it wouldn't be as strong as it is now. And so these challenges should be something that we should look as a factor that helps us grow instead of a challenge that is gonna, bring us down, because we shouldn't let these factors pull ourselves down. It should be something to make us grow. Whatever challenge there may be can be different from now than it will be in the future. But what is important is that we stick to things together and that we just continue moving forward.
Yeah, I guess some challenges during long distance friendship when it comes to social adaptability or like social skills. I think social skills wise, the challenges was that you have to open up to other people or that you have to trust again with a whole new person. And when it comes to adaptability, I guess the challenges there for me would be sort of like feeling in the same circle, feeling the same trust with someone, the same connection as someone. You have to start from zero and then you have to build it up again. It also enhances your social skills, like what I've mentioned before. I've learned that to communicate through cell phones because I usually normally don't do that. I usually like to talk to people in person rather than like texting them because I feel like, personal connections is more...
It's just different.
And it like feels more personal.
Yes.
Yeah, right? So yeah, and I guess adaptability wise, it enhanced me to learn how to depend on other people. To like, okay, I shouldn't close myself off. I should open myself to any new people or person that comes into my life. But then also becoming selective. So number 3, stories of long distance friendships that have endured. So the first question we have here is that, can you share a story of a long distance friendship that has lasted for many years?
Well, this one, obviously, we both know that our friendship has lasted for so many years, despite it being long distance. Well, I mean, we started as, friends since grade school.
Grade school, yeah, first grade.
Yeah, exactly. And for so many years, it was long, but then there were also times wherein I thought that it was kind of falling apart because, like, you know, things have changed when in like high school wherein we were no longer classmates and we transferred, I mean, yeah, we transferred schools, you flew to another country. Yes, and that was pretty challenging until you initiated conversation to us. So that has made me realize that it's really not about the years or how long you guys have been friends, but as long as you share the same values in life and that you both think long term, then it will go long term. Like you just see that and you just know that person is really the friend for you for life.
I agree, yeah. I guess like when you really want to be friends with someone, you have to initiate. That's always the way it is. If you don't put that much effort, then there's really no point in being friends. And I guess that's one of the key aspects of having a long distance friend or any friendship that lasts for a long period of time is that you have to learn how to communicate very well. You have to have that same commitment and passion to be with someone. So it's the same thing with a relationship. It's the same thing with a friendship. You always have to have that love. If you don't have that love in your friendship, then why are you being friends with them in the first place? Like, what is this, friends? Okay, but yeah, aside from like, yeah, us, we were like long distance for a long time, 5 years.
Yeah. 5 years?
Yeah, on and off.
That long.
On and off, on and off, on and off.
Yes.
On and off 5 years, I'd say. Then yeah, I met her back in first grade. And then, yeah, we transferred schools, what she's mentioned. And I guess by then, it sort of faded. Because of the whole like it's our first time actually doing long distance friendship.
Yes, it
by
was.
that time.
Yeah.
And at that time I didn't know anything about long distance friendship, neither did Key. So like it was a new territory. So we didn't know how to communicate. And we were also really young by that age, by the way. So yeah, and then I guess I was hit with like an epiphany one day when I was like in pandemic. I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing with life? Like reminiscing the nostalgicness of like my previous school, and then I realized that okay, I have to reconnect from my previous school. And then I contacted one of our friends and then we like scheduled like a whole group thing and then we re-met each other. And then it worked out in the end anyways.
Yeah, it was like nothing happened. It's like we were just saying.
Exactly. It's like that weird, I guess we had like a 3-year gap with our friendship where we didn't really talk.
Yeah.
But then when we came back together, it was like nothing changed.
Nothing changed.
We just catched up with what we missed basically.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. And then knowing that 3 years was like, okay, if we can do that without talking to each other for 3 years, we can do anything together.
Exactly.
Yeah, and look at us now.
Yes.
We're now at Antox. Who would thought we would end up here, right?
No, yeah.
Exactly. Which is like amazing.
Very. I still can't believe it.
Yeah, exactly. This is the type of friendship you guys should nourish.
Yes.
That's so important. So if you have a friend that you're like thinking of, approach. Don't be shy. You'll never know what happens.
Yeah. It takes risk.
Exactly. Risk is a 50-50, but it's most likely going to end up really well. Just do it. And then I guess the next one is, what are some memorable experiences or challenges you faced with a long distance friend?
I kind of also mentioned that, you know, we had this gap wherein we stopped talking. That is one of the most challenging experiences I had to go through because for me it was new to me and I didn't know how things worked out. We were new to this, and you know, having to like meet new people. We're just going through so many things in life, but then you know, fate brought us back together and now we're stronger than ever. And these challenges of like no communication was something that we did something about it by communicating again, and that was through reconnection. So it was the efforts between the both of us wherein we just decided that, oh, I'm actually willing to make this work, and so it did work. So no matter how hard it is or how challenging it would be, as long as you put effort into it, then it should go well.
Yes, exactly. All you need is effort, guys. That's really key. And I guess for me, the most memorable experience with our like long distance friendship was that, I don't know, it was more of like we gone through every horrible and exciting experiences the same time, even though we're apart.
That is so true.
That's so crazy too.
No, yeah.
Like one day I was like, oh, by the way, I'm going through this thing, and she's like,
And
me
me
too. And I was just like,
Yes.
what? Okay. So that made me realize that okay, I should really talk more.
Yeah.
And I guess that's very memorable because like it's like you know that saying where it was like soul ties.
Yes.
Yeah, that soul ties thing. Yeah, I think that's like the same aspect with the two of us was that even though we don't talk, when we just randomly say a topic, we're like, oh my gosh, I went through the
Yes,
same thing.
exactly.
And then like we can
Yeah.
help each other to like find a solution and then get over the problem slowly.
Yes, I think we're basically soulmates.
So yeah, we're basically soulmates, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's one of our most memorable experiences for my part. And then challenges, I'd say in our friendship would be, I mean, it was still probably the first time we did long distance was our first challenge.
I agree.
Yeah, because that one was like, we didn't talk to each other for 3 years, I think. 3 years, I believe.
Yeah.
Like literally zero communication.
Yep.
And just forgot that's like, okay, should we like talk to each other or not? Not type of awkward moment phase. But yeah, that's totally normal in any long distance friendship. When you're like first into long distance friendship, it's always awkward because the friendship won't be the same, obviously. But then just keep trying. If you really want to be friends with them, just keep trying. And if they don't show the same energy or reciprocate it, that's fine. That means that it's not meant to be. And that's when you have to let go. Even though it will hurt, it's fine. And then the last question, how has your long distance friendship evolved over time?
I'm so happy to say that our long distance friendship has truly evolved because of the long distance as well. It would be different. I can't imagine like thinking about it. If we weren't long distance, like let's say we were neighbors, maybe our friendship would be different. I don't know. It's just so different because of the challenge that was there. And if it weren't for that challenge, we wouldn't really made that much effort. We wouldn't have known that, oh, this person wouldn't have, put so much effort into this friendship. And like, thanks to that, we actually did become better and fought for each other just to be better. That has truly taught me so many things and has also helped me grown throughout time with this type of evolution. And thanks to that, I'm super thankful because we've fought battles together, we've been through things together.
Yeah.
And without that, we wouldn't be as where we are now.
Exactly, yeah.
Yes.
I think our friendship started with literally basic conversation about school.
Yeah.
And then it evolved into like, she's
So
my
many
rock.
things.
Yeah, like she's my
Yes.
rock. Like I go to her for every single thing, like literally even the most embarrassing thing.
Yeah.
I still tell her and I'm like, you know what, I'll be embarrassed, but it's fine.
Exactly.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm okay with that. So yeah, I feel like she's really my rock. Like anything I have going through or have gone through, I still tell her anyways.
Yeah.
And then we remind each other of like, our silly mistakes and then all that. But we just laugh about it because we go through the same thing anyways.
Exactly.
I guess I think that's one of the most important part of a friendship is that once you go through the same thing together, it becomes very strong. Because then you both relate.
Yes.
I feel like if one person goes through something that you can't relate to, and another person goes through something completely different, it's very hard to match.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then you'll be like, oh, you can't see my problem. I can't see your problem.
Yeah.
And then there'll be like a whole miscommunication. And that's when friendships usually fall apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really hard to find that connecting bond, but it's all about effort. If I never really approached Key in that awkward 3 year, I don't
what
think
would have
we would
happened.
be here.
Yeah.
I don't think we would be here right now.
know,
Yeah, it's crazy. And now we're like adults. Yeah.
Actually.
Literal adults now. But yeah. You have anything else to add?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. I'm like so grateful for how far we've come. I mean,
Yeah, me too.
and I still see a lot. Like the evolution, it doesn't just stop here. It just keeps going on. It's like a lifetime thing.
Yeah.
And I'm just so happy and grateful to have a friend like you.
Aw.
Because yes, and it's just so rare to find a friend that that will stick to you for the rest of your life. And I'd say I've truly found that person.
Oh, that's so cute. Oh my gosh, yeah. But yeah, I guess very wholesome, I'd say, coming back here.
Yeah.
It's like a whole new book opened again. But yeah, I can see myself growing old and still calling her with all my problems, to be like, yeah, that's what's happening in my life. But yeah.